And that leads us to my favorite part of the show, my Auspicious op-ed. It's my little time to share some words that I composed with everyone. So let's get to it. This is going to be the first Auspicious op-ed in the series of pieces dedicated to the topic of predictive programming embedded in retro cartoons and anime. And I'm titling this series Esoteric Predictive Programming Animated Retrospective. And we are going to start with one of my favorites of all time under the category of super rewatchable picks. We're starting with Robotech. All right, so the 1985 classic known for its iconic transforming Veritech fighters, memorable characters, and all that space opera sci-fi saga goodness that is fun for all ages. So many themes embedded into this Japanimation classic to tell you about that are similar to what we've been experiencing in a similar time frame to what actually went on the show. Note, Robotech is an American series, but the animation comes from 3 separate anime series with their own stories that are not related in any way to the stories in Robotech. So we use the term Japanimation for this method where you add a new story to the edited post-production footage in lieu of just dubbing the Japanese series into English. So that's why we call this one Japanimation. Anyway, although I'll be, I will be linking everyone to the complete series in the description box. So please take note that although I'm giving you all of that, I do find that the book series by Jack McKinney is absolutely phenomenal, well worth the read. Let's go ahead and get into the most interesting highlights that relate to our experiences in this 21st century real world that has transpired before us. All right, so the first part of the series, known as the Macross Saga, begins with when an alien spaceship crashes down to Earth in 1999. That's the same year I turned 18. In the midst of a global civil war. The UN Spacey, which is very similar in spirit to our UN, implements the Robotech Defense Force after researching and refurbishing this alien technology for human use in warfare. The Zentradi aliens are a giant species of humanoids that do not reproduce like Homo sapiens, but instead they utilize cloning chambers and also have the ability to micronize in similar chambers to be human size. All of the alien species throughout the series share many characteristics with beings from our own real-world hidden history, such as Tartaria, Beyond the Ice Wall, or what other people call Antarctica, Atlantis, Lemuria, and so on. The power of love, music and frequency, and energy are an important overarching theme that aid in tying the 3 series together that were used to make Robotech. Ethics, morality, and discernment remain primary themes that drive the story, which is something that has been largely missing from this demographic of programming since the late 80s. Humans having to adapt to a wide array of challenging circumstances, oftentimes at the hands of their evil government officials, are handled mindfully with complexity and nuance. From civilian hostages in space to interspecies relations and the ethics of war to the ethics of love, much to ponder and contemplate emerges with each episode. While the Macross Saga mostly takes place in space during an intergalactic war, the second part of the series, known as Southern Cross or the Robotech Masters, takes place on a war-ravaged, militarily policed, globalized into one-world state. A new race of humanoid aliens and their clones are introduced that utilize frequencies to enforce their agendas, heal their soldiers, and employ a type of eugenics on the peoples created and modified via melodically induced mind control from highly advanced and militarized musical equipment. Complex topics regarding loyalty, war, governance, and obedience are highly prevalent throughout the middle of the series. The meaning of life and what is truly worth fighting for continue to unfold with each storyline. Instances of nepotism, despotism, and corruption also increase as ethics and morality tend to drive the plot twists of this show. The real racism between different humanoids, contrasting the many instances of cooperative relations and harmony between others, allow the viewer to see that regardless of humanoid type, it takes all kinds to make the world what it is. The world that we're currently living in most parallels this part of the series in regards to what our governments wish they could get away with, pertaining to our treatment as citizens. This part of the series also ends with a worldwide invasion and bombardment similar to the Macross Saga, before progressing into the final chapter of the original series known as the New Generation. The New Generation shows us a world that I would expect to see after a seriously cataclysmic event sends modern society into a new dark age of sorts. When I think of what I expect towns or cities to look like after the pole shift, micronova, and mud floods, this part of the show really delivers. Another alien race, known as the Invid, are the primary nemesis for our heroes, but very sketchy townspeople and leaders are wherever populated sectors have formed. Sentience, perseverance, resource management, and survival in a harsh environment are the topics that stand out the most. While love, friendship, and freedom are very important themes, they really do develop in a much deeper sense with this group of main characters that are featured in this part of the series. If this sounds like something you'd like to check out, I'll be linking the movie Robotech to the Sentinels as well, which is where the characters from the Macross Saga are back in space with the Robotech Expeditionary Force, while Southern Cross and New Generation from the original series are actually happening. So they're basically parallel. To enjoy the Sentinels, make sure to check out Jack McKinney's novels, and if possible, track down copies of the out-of-print comics by the Waltrip brothers that were printed by multiple publishers back in the 80s and 90s, and Robotech Art Volume 3 also is all about the Sentinels. So if you are into that, or if you're so inclined, those are pretty fun. I've found much of these online and in comic stores alike. And that wraps up today's show.